Welcome to Kohler Mania. Thank you for joining us today. We are excited that you're here. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Michael.
And today, I just want to get into a little mini series about mommy's roles. And it was just so on my heart. And so this is going to be the first series about talking about mothers as primary teachers of the home. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Michael, when we decided to have a child, it took some time and we were so prayerful about it. And the verse that I remember crying over and just asking the Lord was Psalm 113:9. He gives the barren woman a home, making her the joyous mother of children. And that was just something I was hanging on so tightly. And, you know, it is a blessing to be a parent, it is a blessing to be a mom. And it makes me think back about how my mom was my primary teacher. I woke up this morning thinking about my mother, and my mother, she has dementia, but I was thinking about how she used to say things to me all the time and call me so much. And, you know, I took a lot of that for granted. And so I just know that the Lord is just working in my heart and just wanting to convey, you know, those beautiful moments of us being primary teachers of our children. We only have a girl and it's all we know. And I tend to spend a lot of time with our daughter, so much time. And there's so many opportunities. And just from the moment that we brought her home, it was like, what do we do with this child? And we looked at each other like, okay, first, how do we change the diaper? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And you remember that? How difficult it was?
Yeah, I know. I felt lost. I was like, we did as much as we could to kind of prepare, taking some parenting classes and reading up as much as we can. But there's no amount of preparation that can take away that feeling of bringing a living being home for the first time and going, whoa, how do we do all this? How do we take care of this child in the moment, every moment now for the rest of our lives?
Yeah, it's so hard to think through that. I was listening to a different podcast the other day, and I love what this person said. He said that children have the blessing of their mother, and for their mother to be able to be their primary teacher, or their kids are able to stay at home with their mother, it is an absolute blessing to the child, because from the moment that I brought our daughter home, I was teaching her, right? I was nursing her. I was speaking to her. I was with her so much, waking up in the night, in the morning, feeding her, making her food, and doing all these things, changing her, singing songs with her. And she never criticized me because she didn't know how to speak, but I was teaching her along the way. And one of the things that is just such a blessing to my own heart is that we have the opportunity to have our child at home. And it takes a lot of patience to be a teacher, to teach your children everything. We homeschool, and we'll talk about that in another podcast, but to be able to start it out from day one and teaching and being the primary person and not allowing someone else to take that role as a mother. And there are moms out there that have to get daycare, and, you know, we're not belittling that. And we understand that there's different circumstances, but the mothers that have the opportunity to be able to teach their children, what a gift. God says that we are to be that primary teacher. Deuteronomy 6, where we are to teach our children day in and day out all the time. And it's just a bond between a mother and their child, and to learn that patience and to really ask the Lord, because each stage of life, as many may know, is so different. That infant stage, there's a lot of caring that happens. There's a lot of time that's there. And then as your child becomes more independent, the less they need you. And that's one thing that kind of hurts a little bit in my heart. But of course, you know, your child has to grow up and they have to become independent. But each stage of life, it's God's gift to the mom that things kind of go slowly. Even though time flies, the progression of that child, it's like a slow process. The 1-year-old, the 2-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, and your hair is falling out because you're going through different stages, but it's a bond to have between the mother and the child. And being that primary teacher is an influence for life. And it warms my heart to know that I get the opportunity to teach my daughter about Jesus Christ, that I get to be her teacher, that I get to teach her about math, that I get to teach her about cooking, that I get to teach her about how to make your bed, and just all the simple things of life. Because one day she's going to be a mother and she's going to come to me and talk to me, and she's going to be the one that's the primary teacher of her child. And so to have that bond with my daughter now, I become the biggest influence in her life. And so I just really bless the Lord for the opportunity of being a mother. Sometimes I feel like I'm not the best mother because we are all sinners and we all need God and we need His grace and we need His mercy to show us genuinely the areas that we need fixing. And it's a refinement. And we just bring those things to the Lord. Help me, Lord, to teach my child. Help me, Lord, to have the fruit of the Spirit. Help me, Lord, to be able to raise up this little person that you gave me that has a strong personality. And we need to be grateful and thankful as mothers that we have this chance, because the world, they want to have a bond with our children. They want to be the primary teachers of our kids. But no, as followers of Jesus Christ, this is a calling that we have as mothers.
Yeah, I tell you what I was really impressed with, especially was, like we said before, how we both kind of came home and felt a little lost. Well, my lost feeling kind of lingered and continued on, but you seem to just like jump in to all of a sudden just knowing how to do all this stuff. And I'm like, where did that come from? There's just something about a mother's instinct, I think, that God gave mothers that men just don't quite have. And so that's why you see men in the family situation sometimes have this kind of lost feeling on what to do. And you just kind of follow the mother's lead in a lot of things because she's just able to kind of keep the house organized, get things in place. She's better able to multitask in all these areas. And there's just an instinct that God seemed to have given mothers to just naturally know how to do a lot of these things. And I was just so impressed how your knowledge on how to do a lot of different things just fell right in order, right from the get-go. And that's just a valuable asset and thing to have in the family, is that knowledge that the mother has and in that discipleship process of our children.
And that's how God instituted marriage and family. And that is one of the things that we stand for in our ministry, is we love to build families up. And it is our primary duty to be able to be the primary person to teach our children. So I am so happy that we got to talk a little bit about mommy being a teacher. And with that, I'm going to end this podcast and we'll continue with the mini series of mommy's roles. So we are grateful that you're here. Keep joining us. And until next time,
God bless.